Hello friends. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that might completely change the way you see your life's challenges. It's about a boy who used to believe that his problems were too heavy to carry until he learned one powerful truth. Most problems in life are not as big as we think, and their solutions are often right in front of us. So take a deep breath, relax your mind, and stay with me till the very end. In a small village surrounded by green fields, there lived a boy named Neel. He was clever, but he had one bad habit: he worried too much. Even the smallest difficulty looked like a mountain to him. If the weather was hot, he'd say, "How can anyone work in this heat?" If the teacher gave homework, he'd complain, "This is too hard." And if his mother asked for help, he'd mumble, "Why does everything have to be so difficult for me?" Day by day, Neel's complaints grew, and slowly, people started avoiding him because no one likes to be around someone who only sees problems. One evening, tired of hearing his son's constant sighs, Neel's father called him and said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." They walked together to a small pond at the edge of the village. The water was still and calm. His father handed him a small handful of salt and said, "Throw this into the pond." Neel did as told. Then his father said, "Now taste the water." Neel bent down, took a sip, and immediately spat it out. "It's so bitter," he said. His father smiled and said nothing. He then gave Neel another handful of salt and took him to the nearby river. "Now throw it here." Neel threw the salt into the river. Then his father said, "Now taste the river water." Neel cupped his hands, drank, and looked up in surprise. "It's fresh. I can't taste the salt at all." His father smiled gently and said, "Son, life's problems are just like this salt. The amount of salt never changes. But how bitter life feels depends on the size of your heart. If your heart is small like the pond, even the smallest problem will make your life bitter. But if your heart is wide like the river, no problem will ever be able to overwhelm you." Those words sank deep into Neel's heart. For the first time, he realized maybe the world wasn't as cruel as he thought. Maybe the problem wasn't life, it was his own perspective. That night, lying in bed, Neel whispered to himself, "If I stay like the pond, I'll always suffer. But if I become like the river, I can handle anything." From the next morning, Neel decided to change, slowly but surely. When his teacher gave him extra homework, he didn't complain. He said to himself, "This is my chance to improve." When his mother asked him to carry buckets of water, he smiled and thought, "This will make me stronger." When the sun burned down on his back, instead of groaning, he said, "This is just another test. I can face it." At first, it wasn't easy. Old habits tried to pull him back, but every time he remembered his father's words, "Make your heart bigger." Weeks turned into months, and something beautiful began to happen. Neel started to change. He was no longer the boy who complained about everything. He became calm, patient, and cheerful. His friends enjoyed being around him. His teacher praised him in class. His parents felt proud. Neel's life still had problems, exams, chores, hard days, but he no longer drowned in them. Instead, he flowed like the river, carrying them with ease. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Neel sat quietly by the river. He watched the water flow endlessly, carrying leaves, sticks, and stones without stopping. He smiled and whispered to himself, "Every problem in life has a simple solution. It's not about removing the salt. It's about becoming the river." So, my friends, remember this life will always bring challenges. Some days will be hard. Some nights will feel endless. But the answer is not to complain or to run away. The real answer is to grow bigger, to open your heart wider, and to face your problems with calmness. Because the truth is simple. Problems don't shrink. We grow, and when we grow, every problem becomes small. So whenever you feel stuck, just ask yourself, am I being the pond, or am I being the river?